Hello, Spring Arbor students. Welcome to MBA 661, week 5. Hope things are going great okay for you. Just a couple more weeks left after today. So finish strong. Don't start coasting yet. Let's dig into the material. We're in chapters 16, 17, 18, and 19. And what we're looking at is this concept of integrated marketing communication. There's a nice little chart that pulls that all together. I'm going to show that to you in a moment here. Make sure you know that. We're going to be looking at the importance of advertising, public relations, personal selling, and that sort of thing. We're also going to be talking about major approaches to promotion and pricing. So chapters 18 and 19 are a lot about pricing tactics and pricing strategies. Then also looking at the importance of promotional and pricing decisions for your client organization that hopefully you're working on and thinking about the week 7 project and presentation that you have to turn in. Of course, all this wrapped within a framework of faith and ethical considerations within a biblical perspective, not necessarily a societal perspective on ethics, but a biblical perspective on one. Let's start with some basic definitions of promotion. It's a function of informing, persuading, influencing people to make a buy, to purchase something from you. This idea of integrated marketing communications is a coordination of a lot of different layers and tactics of promoting your product. This is a great little chart on integrated marketing communications and what it looks like. And I want you to see all the different, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, I don't think it's showing up in this. But anyways, you can look in the center of this and see that there's integrated marketing communication is pulling together a lot of different like strategies on how to promote and market your product. They even still have direct mail in here. I don't know. I'm not sure if I get stuff through direct mail if it's really influencing me. Excuse me. To buy anymore or not, but maybe. But certainly what's not in here that ought to be is anything related to digital communications. You can almost pop out that direct mail and put in digital communications as one of those tactics. I would encourage you, when you're looking at your client organization and studying that, making your marketing plan, that you figure out which, if any, or all of these, how these work together for your client, how they ought to work together for your client. That might be one of your recommendations. All right, let's take a look at some of the promotional mixes that you can use. There's personal selling. There's advantages and disadvantages to that. All the way over to guerrilla marketing. So interesting. I found a nice little, see if I can pull it over here without messing too many things up. So this is a website I found. Just talk about guerrilla marketing. This is an advertisement for this little frame up here is an advertisement for Axe. You see all the women chasing that guy who's wearing Axe. This is actually a pool stick with I don't know what's on the tip of it. It's Guinness. That's what it is. They're advertising Guinness on the tip of the pool stick during one of those professional games. Always funny. Yeah, Shark Week. Again, these are meant to be striking. All right, this one, yeah, skin cancer. Notice the shape of the towel is in the form of a coffin. This one is this is out of a magazine. If you peel off these little labels from the left hand side, you eventually get the person that's on the right hand side. So it's kind of interesting how they did that. Elevators with glass floors. Notice the advertisement for Swiss Skydive. Anyways, you get the idea. That's an example of some guerrilla marketing techniques that, hey, they're attention getting and like they said, they're low cost, and it really causes you to be, stand out from the competition. All right, let's look at this idea out of chapter 16 again on some different ways, some different things you need to think about advertising in terms of the life cycle that you're in with the product. When something's being introduced, a lot of your promotion should be about being informative as well as always persuasive, but you don't really need reminders to people. A great example, I don't know if you can see it or not, these masks. If you remember a year ago when they came in, or if this is You know, you can think of other examples too, but when the pandemic started, masks were being introduced, and there were a lot of out there about information about masks and what works and what doesn't work and that sort of thing. But now, we're into this maturity, maybe even a little bit on the decline. And so things becomes less informative, but a little more of a reminder. And if you just think about what you're seeing now on radio and TV or digital media, you can see it's now, the whole conversation about masks is not about information so much anymore as it is, it's a reminder to wear them. All right, so let's move on. Nice little chart here on some of the different sales channels that are available to talk to your customers. Inside selling, over-the-counter, telemarketing, and field selling. So interesting, we just hired a salesperson for us in one of our southern branch in Tennessee. And when we were interviewing him, he said, I never thought of myself as a salesperson. I just thought about myself as building relationships and working those. And that's really this whole idea of field selling. And actually, that goes with any form of selling, but particularly in field selling, it really takes a relationship with people to keep that going. Anyways, it was interesting. The AIDA concept, attention, interest, desire, action. Pretty good framework for learning how to sell. There's also the sales funnel. This is like, and the sales funnel is different, but the sales funnel really deals with, and I don't have a graphic for that, but you can look it up. It deals with more or less step one on the prospecting and qualifying all the way down to the closing. So if you the sales funnel is like the upside down version of this, but the AIDA concept really focuses first on understanding customers' needs and that sort of thing. I do want to point out, they have step 7 as follow-up. That never stops. Okay, you can make the sale, but if you don't follow up, if you don't do a good job, and you all know this from your own experiences, you're going to lose the account eventually. So when you're finding a salesperson, there's a little bit about this, but not much, so I thought I'd expand the thought here a little bit on finding a salesperson. And this, by the way, this is true for anybody that you hire in your organization. There's this idea about intrinsic reward. And if you study this at all, there's extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic rewards are things like, pay, better benefits, time off, that sort of thing, bonuses. Intrinsic reward is a lot different. There's a guy named Daniel Pink, he researches this. He says, if you can find this person that I'm going to talk about in just a second, then you're going to keep that person for probably a longer period of time than you would if you just focus on the extrinsic rewards. So people who appreciate intrinsic rewards are people who they have control of their own work. They're somewhat, if you call them autonomous. They get to make their own decisions. If you can find that person who is competent in their job, it's in their wheelhouse to do what they're doing, as well as if that person, that the work that they're going to do is lined up with their own personal purpose, then you've probably found somebody who appreciates intrinsic rewards, even though they may not see it that way. They appreciate intrinsic rewards, and they'll go through walls to work for you because they love what they do. They have control over their work. They're competent in what they do, and their work has meaning, personal meaning to them. And like I said, we found a salesperson recently for our Tennessee area, and I think that that guy is probably this kind of person. Seemed to be like when we talked to him, this is what we found. Okay, let's look at these different pricing objectives. Think about these objectives: profitability, volume, meeting competition, prestige objectives, and not-for-profit. Which one of those best fits your client? And be thinking about that. Reference this table when you think about the objectives for your client, and you write about that in your marketing plan. This is a look at some different market structures. And this chart's best read vertically, top to bottom. So look at the market structure of peer competition. How many? What's the number of competitors? Well, there's a lot of competitors in pure competition. It's easy to break into for the most part. There's a lot of similarity of goods and services that are being offered. Control of price, it's simply based on the market. And demand curve is elastic. It can come and go. This is a good example. Oops, sorry. This is a good example of pure competition at work. Demand can come and go based on other things. And then there's at the other end, there's the monopoly, which is more or less a lot of government influence to prevent that. But anyways, figure out for yourself, for your client, where you're at with that. Like, where are they at? And understand the market structure that they're in. All right, and then finally, there's this idea of pricing strategies. There's all kinds of them out there, and these everyday low prices, EDLPs, geographic promotional or geographic pricing. We do that a little bit in our business. It's different in the South than it is in the North in terms of how you price these, how you price labor in the staffing industry. A little bit different. So anyways, get to know these and understand these because in your marketing plan, I'm going to be looking at your suggestions for strategies for your client organization and how to suggest a pricing strategy to them and why. All right, so that's it. Don't forget the reminders up on top here. Oops, sorry. There we go. Don't forget the reminders up on top there. And have yourself a great week. And remember, God is still on his throne. He's always been there, and he's always going to be.